Hi, this is Mr. Shumway. This video clip will show you how to use sine to find the height of something difficult to measure. If you don't know what sine is, the sine of an angle is defined as the length of the side opposite. So here's the theta down in that corner, or that angle there. Now you might notice that this is a right triangle, 90-degree angle there. The length of the side opposite divided by the length of the hypotenuse. So that's just the definition of the sine of an angle. So that's what sine has been defined as. And if we find that it's useful, so let's say we are 100 feet away from a tree. The top of the tree is 35 degrees with the ground. Say we're on level ground, for example. Can we figure out the height of that tree? Well, we can take we need to know, since sine is equal to the length of the side opposite over the hypotenuse, we don't know, if we were to use the 35 degrees, we don't know the height or the hypotenuse, so that won't do us any good. We have to have an equation that only has one unknown. So let's find the other angle here. Now we know that these three angles in a triangle add up to 180. And we know one of them is already 90. So the other two have to add up to 90. So 35 plus something adds up to 90. So 35 plus 55 adds up to 90. So this one has to be 55 degrees. Now we can use this relationship that the sine of 55 degrees, 55 degrees is equal to the length of the side opposite. Now that one we know, because it's opposite the 55 degree angle. Think of it as looking through the corner there. You're looking right in through the corner and you see the opposite side of 100 feet over the hypotenuse. I don't know, what do you want to call it? Since h is height, let's call that one x. Okay, so we can solve for x if we multiply both sides by x to get it out of the denominator, because x divided by x is 1. So x times the sine of 55 equals 100. Well, to get x all by itself, I divide by the sine of 55 degrees. So I also divide the right side by the sine of 55 degrees. So that says x, our hypotenuse, is equal to 100 divided by the sine of 55 degrees. So we pull out our calculator. This can be done on the calculator on your computer. Some people like the calculator, the TI calculator. Either way is fine. So to calculate 100 divided by the sine of 55, we do 100 divided by the sine of 55. Says as 122 feet. So if x is 122 feet, now we can use this 35 degree angle to find the height, because we know that the sine of 35 degrees is equal to the length of the side opposite, which is h, divided by the hypotenuse, which is 122. Now we're solving for h, and so we multiply by 122 on each side. Let's multiply dot there. So h equals, the height of the tree equals 122 times the sine of 35. So let's get our TI calculator back here. 122 times sine of 35. So it's about 70 feet. Close enough. If your calculator is not giving those numbers for those calculations, let me just show you something on the calculator. It would be under mode. In mode, there are two angle measurements. One is radians and one is degrees. Make sure that degrees is selected. You can arrow down and over, and then you hit with these arrow down and over, and then you can hit enter to select it. Second function mode to get out of there. Okay, should we do some more just for practice? Let's change things up so that the angle is 25 degrees and the distance is 125. So that means our other angle would have to be 65 degrees. So we know the sine of 65 degrees equals the length of the side opposite over the hypotenuse. So I guess I better label that. Let's get the x out of the denominator. Let's get the x all by itself. Pull out the TI calculator. 125 divided by the sine of 65. 138 feet. Okay, now we can say that the sine of 25 degrees is equal to the length of the side opposite over the hypotenuse. Multiply by 138 on each side. So h equals 138 times the sine of 25 degrees. 138 times the sine of 25 degrees. 58 feet high. One thing you'll notice is that if the angle is small, then the height is small compared to the hypotenuse. So something to think about when you're trying to check your answers and see if they make sense.